You have been waiting for money before you feel confident, waiting for approval before you feel worthy, waiting for the world to change before you change yourself. And while you wait, life keeps moving without you. Let me tell you something plainly, because plain truth is more useful than polite comfort. This waiting is not patience. It is surrender. It is the silent habit that steals years from strong people who never realized they were powerful. I want you to imagine this scene. A man stands outside a locked vault. Inside the vault is everything he has ever wanted: security, confidence, opportunity, purpose. He pounds on the door. He curses the lock. He blames the building. He blames the weather. He blames everyone who walked past him and entered easily. What he does not know is this: the key is already in his pocket. This story is not about that man. This story is about you. You have been taught, without anyone ever saying it out loud, that life works in a certain order. First, circumstances improve. Then confidence appears. First, success arrives. Then belief follows. First, others value you. Then you value yourself. That order feels logical. It feels fair. It is also completely wrong. This mistake is not small. It is the root of nearly every struggle you are facing today. I learned this truth after spending more than 40 years studying human success and failure. I sat across tables from men who rose from poverty to wealth and men who sank from opportunity into obscurity. I spoke with women who rebuilt shattered lives and others who never recovered from the same blows. I searched for the difference. Not casually. Obsessively. At first, I believed it would be education. It was not. Some of the most successful people I met barely finished school. Some of the most defeated held impressive degrees. I believed it would be money. It was not. Many fortunes began with nothing. Many inheritances ended in ruin. I believed it would be luck or timing. It was not. I saw greatness born in disaster and failure grow in comfort. Eventually, the answer became impossible to ignore. The difference was always mental attitude, not positive thinking as a slogan, not optimism as fantasy, but a disciplined, deliberate way of thinking that refused to surrender control to circumstances. Let me explain what that means through a true story. During the Great Depression, I interviewed two men in the same week. Both had lost everything in the market crash. Businesses destroyed. Savings gone. Homes taken. The first man sat stiff in his chair, his jaw tight, his eyes heavy with bitterness. He spoke as though life had personally betrayed him. He blamed banks. He blamed government. He blamed fate. Years had passed since the crash, yet he was frozen in the moment of loss. His circumstances had not improved because his mind had not moved. The second man had lost even more, yet his posture was different. His voice carried energy, not anger. When I asked how he viewed his situation, he leaned forward and said something I have never forgotten. I lost my money, not my mind. My mental attitude is the one thing no crash can steal. Within 3 years, that man rebuilt a thriving enterprise. Same economy, same disaster, different mental attitude. This is where most people resist. You might be resisting right now. You may be thinking, my problems are real. My bills are real. My disappointments are real. You are correct. Your problems are real. But here is the truth that separates those who rise from those who remain trapped. Real problems do not require negative mental attitudes. Your attitude toward the problem determines whether it defeats you or develops you. This is the point where the story turns uncomfortable, because comfort has kept you stuck. I need you to hear this clearly. Your circumstances are not shaping your mental attitude. Your mental attitude is shaping your circumstances. Every condition you currently experience reflects the habits of thought you have practiced, often unconsciously, for years. Your finances, your relationships, your health, your confidence. None of these are accidents. This does not mean you are to blame in a moral sense. It means you are responsible in a powerful sense. Responsibility is not condemnation. Responsibility is control. The moment you accept that your mental attitude is the primary cause, you regain authority over your future. Most people live as though they are weather vanes, turning helplessly with external winds. But you are not a weather vane. You are the climate. This misunderstanding leads to the first great prison people build for themselves. They believe external conditions determine internal states. They say, I am unhappy because of my job. I am anxious because of money. I am frustrated because of people. Yet place two people in the same job, under the same boss, with the same pay, and you will see two entirely different experiences. One grows. The other suffers. The difference is not the circumstance. It is the interpretation. Circumstances are neutral until your mind assigns meaning to them. That meaning becomes emotion. Emotion becomes behavior. Behavior becomes results. This is not philosophy. This is cause and effect. Once you understand this, you stop waiting. You stop waiting to feel confident before acting. You stop waiting to feel motivated before trying. You stop waiting for permission to respect yourself. You act first with discipline of thought. Feeling follows action. Circumstances follow attitude. In the next part of this story, I will show you the second great illusion that keeps capable people stuck. The belief that you must feel inspired before you can perform excellently. That lie has cost more dreams than failure ever could. But for now, I want you to sit with this single truth. You already control the force that shapes your entire life. You always have. The only question is whether you will claim it. This is not the beginning of a new life. It is the moment you stop postponing the one you already own. Part 2. How your mind broadcasts your destiny. Every time you walk into a room, something happens before you say a single word. People form an impression of you without knowing why. Some lean in, some pull back, some feel trust, some feel resistance. They cannot explain it, but they feel it, and so do you. This invisible exchange is not imagination. It is not luck. It is not coincidence. It is the quiet law that governs every meeting, every opportunity, every rejection, and every breakthrough in your life. Your mind is not only a place where thoughts live. Your mind is a broadcasting station. Right now, at this very moment, it is sending signals outward. Those signals are being received by others, interpreted without words, and answered with action or hesitation. Most people never realize this is happening. They live unaware, broadcasting fear while hoping for confidence, broadcasting doubt while begging for opportunity, broadcasting resentment while craving appreciation. Then they wonder why life feels like resistance. Let me take you back to a conversation that changed the direction of my thinking forever. Years ago, Thomas Edison explained to me how radio broadcasting works. A transmitting station sends electrical vibrations at a specific frequency. A receiver tuned to that frequency picks up the signal and turns it into sound. The process is invisible, yet undeniable. No one questions whether radio waves exist. They simply tune in and listen. Then Edison said something that stayed with me. He said the human mind works in much the same way. Every thought you think carries energy. Every emotion you feel adds strength to that energy. Together they form a signal that travels outward and influences the people and conditions you encounter. This is not poetry. This is mechanism. When your dominant mental attitude is confidence, expectation, and goodwill, you broadcast those qualities. Others receive them without knowing how. They describe it as intuition. They say things like, "I trust him," even though they cannot explain why. They say, "She seems capable," even before seeing results. What they are responding to is your mental broadcast. When your dominant attitude is fear, resentment, or doubt, you broadcast that too. Others feel uneasy around you. Opportunities stall. Support fades. And no one can quite explain the reason. Let me tell you a story Edison himself shared with me. Before he secured funding for his electric light experiments, he did not chase investors with desperation. He did not complain about rejection. He did not speak from fear. Instead, he held one calm, steady conviction. The right people will appear. He worked daily with that expectation. He spoke with confidence. He thought with certainty. He acted as though support was inevitable. And then something remarkable happened. Men of wealth approached him. Not because he begged. Not because he worried. But because his mental broadcast attracted minds tuned to the same frequency. Edison understood this was not luck. It was law. Now let me show you the other side. I once knew a brilliant inventor whose ideas were sound. I examined them personally. They were practical, innovative, and valuable, yet no one invested. Why? Because every conversation he entered was clouded with fear. He constantly thought, no one will believe in this. No one will support me. I will probably fail again. He never said those words out loud. He did not have to. His mind broadcast them. Potential backers felt hesitation they could not explain. They walked away unsure why. His inventions remained unseen, not because they lacked merit, but because his mental broadcasts repelled belief. This is the point most people miss. Your words matter, your actions matter, but your dominant mental attitude matters more than both. Here is the most empowering truth I can give you. You can control your broadcast. Not someday. Not after success. Now. Before your next meeting. Before your next phone call. Before your next difficult conversation. Take 3 minutes. Close your eyes and deliberately choose what you will transmit. Say quietly within yourself, I broadcast confidence, value, and genuine goodwill. I expect positive response. I bring something useful. Then hold that attitude. Not forcefully. Calmly. What happens next will surprise you. People who once seemed cold soften. Conversations flow more easily. Doors that felt closed begin to open. Nothing about the world changed. You changed the signal. This works even through a telephone. Some doubt this. They say, how can someone feel my thoughts through a call? They do not hear your thoughts. They hear the result of them. Your tone, your rhythm, your certainty or hesitation. When you call while broadcasting worry, the conversation struggles. When you call while broadcasting calm confidence, the same person responds differently. This law never sleeps. Every interaction responds to your mental broadcast. You are not reacting to life. Life is responding to you. Most people broadcast unconsciously. They transmit whatever emotions dominate them that day. Fear in the morning. Hope in the afternoon. Doubt by evening. Then they say life is unpredictable. It is not unpredictable. It is obedient. When you broadcast consciously, life becomes responsive instead of random. This brings us to a law as real as gravity. Whatever you hold in your mind with emotional intensity and steady belief must express itself in your circumstances. Not because of magic, not because of mysticism, but because thoughts shape behavior, behavior shapes results, and results reinforce belief. When your belief changes, the cycle reverses. You stop waiting for evidence before believing. You believe first, and evidence follows. In the next part of this story, I will reveal why waiting to feel motivated before acting is one of the most expensive mistakes a person can make. You will learn why action creates emotion, not the other way around, and how this single shift separates achievers from lifelong drifters. For now, remember this. Your mind is speaking even when you are silent. The world is listening even when you are unaware. Choose your broadcast carefully. Your destiny is already on the air. Part 3. The magnetic force that shapes your life. There is a force working in your life right now that is more powerful than your education, stronger than your circumstances, and more reliable than luck. It is operating whether you believe in it or not. It has already shaped your past, and it is quietly arranging your future as you read these words. That force is your dominant mental attitude. After more than 40 years of studying success, failure, riches, poverty, triumph, and defeat, I can say this without hesitation. Every great achievement I have ever examined followed the same invisible law, and every heartbreaking failure violated it. This law is tested. It is proven. It is observable. Let me begin with a story that reveals its power more clearly than theory ever could. Andrew Carnegie once told me how he accomplished what experts declared impossible. He set out to merge hundreds of competing steel companies into what would become the United States Steel Corporation. Advisors warned him it could not be done. Competitors swore they would never cooperate. Newspapers mocked the idea. Carnegie did not argue with the world. He worked on his mind. He told me he held one single thought with complete emotional intensity. These men will see the wisdom of cooperation and will join willingly. He repeated this thought morning and night. He pictured the completed merger in his imagination. He felt the satisfaction of success as though it had already happened. And most importantly, he refused to allow doubt to live in his mind. One by one, former rivals became partners. Men who had sworn resistance found themselves agreeing without fully understanding why. What appeared to be a miracle was simply law applied with precision. From Carnegie and hundreds like him, I identified 3 requirements that activate this law with full force. The first is dominant thought. A thought entertained occasionally has little power. A thought repeated until it crowds out all others becomes dominant. Wishes do nothing. Hopes do nothing. The mind must be occupied by one clear idea that leaves no room for contradiction. The second requirement is emotional intensity. Thoughts without feeling are weak. Emotion is the fuel that gives thought momentum. Enthusiasm, gratitude, confidence, expectation. These emotions charge your thoughts with power. Cold, lifeless affirmations produce cold, lifeless results. You must feel your thought as real. The third requirement is unwavering belief. This is where most people fail. They think positively when things look good and doubt when obstacles appear. But the law responds only to consistency. When evidence is absent, belief must remain. When circumstances contradict your desire, belief must remain. Those who achieve do not wait for proof. They create proof through belief. When these three elements dominate your mind, something remarkable happens. You begin to attract ideas you did not consciously create. People appear who align with your purpose. Opportunities emerge that no amount of planning could have produced. This is not coincidence. It is law. But here is the warning few ever hear. This law works in reverse with the same accuracy. Thoughts of poverty, held with fear and belief, attract poverty. Thoughts of failure, charged with anxiety, attract failure. This explains why people who fear lack often experience it, while those who expect abundance move steadily toward it. The fearful person thinks constantly about what might go wrong. He feels anxiety deeply. He believes absolutely that failure is coming. In doing so, he satisfies all three requirements and activates the law against himself. This is not punishment. It is not irony. It is obedience. The law does not judge your thoughts. It simply obeys them. Now let me give you something practical. Something you can test. I challenge you to conduct a 30-day experiment. Choose one clear desire. Be specific. Write it as a definite statement. Say, I maintain the mental attitude that this outcome is inevitable and already forming. Read this statement aloud 3 times daily. When you wake up. At midday. Before sleep. As you read, feel enthusiasm or gratitude as though it is already accomplished. And for 30 days, refuse to allow opposite thoughts to dominate your mind. Watch what happens. Ideas will appear. Helpful people will enter your path. Circumstances will begin shifting. These are not miracles. They are predictable results. Thought is magnetic. It creates a field around you that attracts or repels people and conditions based on its nature and intensity. This magnetic field extends beyond your body. Others feel it before you speak. Henry Ford explained this truth to me through a story from his early years. He once employed 2 engineers of equal ability. Both wanted advancement. Both worked hard. Both possessed the necessary knowledge. The first engineer constantly worried that Ford's ideas would bankrupt the company. He never said this openly, but his doubt was present in his attitude. His presence drained energy. The second engineer radiated belief in Ford's vision. His confidence strengthened Ford during difficult times. Within 2 years, the second man became chief engineer. The first was dismissed. Ford told me something revealing. He said one man made him stronger simply by being near him. The other weakened him without speaking a word. Technical skill could not overcome negative magnetism. Your dominant mental attitude creates this same field. When you enter a room, people respond instinctively. They feel drawn or resistant without conscious reasoning. You have felt this yourself when meeting others. This magnetic force works in 3 ways. First, attractive magnetism. Positive mental attitude charged with goodwill draws opportunity. People want to cooperate. Employers notice. Clients respond. Second, repellent magnetism. Doubt, fear, resentment push opportunity away. You wonder why doors remain closed. The answer lies in what you are broadcasting. Third, directed magnetism. Thoughts you hold about specific people affect your relationship with them. Think of someone with goodwill and expectation, and cooperation increases. Think with resentment, and distance grows. Now apply this. Before entering any place where people gather, pause for 30 seconds. Think deliberately, I enter radiating confidence, goodwill, and positive expectation. Do this repeatedly and observe the difference. For difficult relationships, try this experiment. For 5 days, morning and evening, think of that person with genuine goodwill. Focus on their strengths. Expect pleasant interaction. On the 6th day, interact with them. You will notice change. This is not manipulation. It is alignment. Your thoughts are not private. They are forces. This brings us to your subconscious mind. Your subconscious is the most loyal servant you possess. It accepts whatever you impress upon it most frequently and emotionally. then works tirelessly to make it real. Most people program it with fear without realizing it. Let me share a personal experience that proves this beyond theory. My son Blair was born without ears. Doctors declared he would never hear or speak normally. I refused to accept that verdict. From his birth, I repeated to him daily, "You will hear and speak normally." I impressed this belief with emotion and certainty. I ignored doubt. His subconscious accepted that programming. He learned to hear through bone conduction, something the doctors had not considered. He developed normal speech. He never thought of himself as disabled because his subconscious was programmed with ability. Your subconscious learns through repetition, emotion, and authority. Whatever you consistently impress becomes your reality. In the next part of this story, I will show you how most people unknowingly sabotage their subconscious through careless thinking and how to reverse decades of negative programming. For now, remember this: you are a magnet. Your thoughts determine what you attract, and your mind is always at work shaping your destiny. Part 4. Rewriting the orders you gave your mind. Something has been controlling your life far longer than you realize. It is not your job. It is not the economy. It is not your past. It is the instructions you unknowingly gave your own mind. Every human being lives under the direction of orders issued silently, repeatedly, and emotionally to the subconscious mind. Most people never examine these orders. They assume life simply happens to them. But nothing happens by chance. It happens by instruction. The tragedy is this: many people spend their entire lives obeying commands they never consciously chose. Let me explain. Your subconscious mind does not reason. It does not argue. It does not evaluate truth or falsehood. It accepts whatever is impressed upon it with repetition, emotion, or authority. Once accepted, it works day and night to carry those instructions out. This explains why intelligent people fail and average people succeed. Intelligence alone does not program the subconscious. Habit does. If you repeatedly tell yourself, "I am unlucky, I always fail, success is for others," your subconscious accepts these statements as facts and organizes your behavior to confirm them. You hesitate where you should act. You overlook opportunity. You sabotage progress without knowing why. You do not fail because you are incapable. You fail because your subconscious is obeying faulty orders. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most of the beliefs controlling your life were not created by you. They were absorbed. From parents who meant well but spoke fear. From teachers who labeled limits. From society that rewards conformity more than courage. From repeated disappointments that hardened into identity. By the time you reached adulthood, your subconscious mind was already filled with conclusions about what you can and cannot do. And because the subconscious is loyal, it has been serving those conclusions faithfully. But here is the power you have not been taught. What was programmed can be reprogrammed, not by wishing, not by hoping, but by deliberate instruction. Let me show you how this works through a pattern I have observed repeatedly. Among those who transformed their lives, every successful individual I studied reached a moment where they did something radical. They stopped allowing their subconscious to receive random input. They began issuing clear orders. They did not wait to feel confident. They spoke confidence into the mind until it became natural. They did not wait for belief. They acted as though belief were already present until the subconscious accepted it. This is how inner change precedes outer change. Consider this. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not dig it up every day to see if it is growing. You trust the process. You water it. You protect it. You give it time. Reprogramming your subconscious works the same way. The difficulty most people face is impatience. They repeat a new thought for a day or two, then return to old habits because nothing seems to change. What they do not realize is that the subconscious has been fed the old program for years. It will not release it overnight. Persistence is the price. This is why affirmations fail for many people. They speak words without emotion. They repeat them without belief. They cancel them with doubt minutes later. The subconscious hears all of it. It responds to the strongest signal. If your spoken affirmation is weak but your emotional fear is strong, fear wins. So the question becomes, how do you issue new orders that actually stick? The answer is simple but not easy. You must speak to your subconscious in its own language. That language is repetition. That language is emotion. That language is certainty. You cannot whisper new instructions once and expect change. You must speak them repeatedly with feeling until they override the old program. Let me give you a practical method that has worked for countless individuals I studied. Begin with a clear decision. Not a wish. Not a vague desire. A decision. Decide who you are becoming. Decide what you expect from life. Decide what kind of person you will be regardless of circumstances. Then reduce that decision to a simple statement. For example, I am a person who acts with confidence and attracts opportunity. Or I am calm under pressure and expect success. This statement becomes your new instruction. Now here is the crucial part. You must repeat this instruction daily when your subconscious is most receptive. Upon waking and before sleep. These are the moments when the conscious mind relaxes and the subconscious opens. As you repeat it, you must feel it. Not forcefully. Naturally. Imagine yourself already acting this way. Picture small scenes. Hear your own voice speaking confidently. See yourself responding calmly where you once reacted with fear. Your subconscious responds to images more strongly than words. Do this daily. And something subtle but powerful begins to happen. Your reactions change before you notice your beliefs changing. You respond differently to stress. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. Then opportunities respond to you differently. This is how transformation actually occurs. Most people try to change behavior without changing instruction. That never lasts. Behavior follows belief. Belief follows programming. Change the program and behavior follows effortlessly. There is another obstacle you must overcome if you are serious about mastering your mind. Your environment. Your subconscious is constantly absorbing signals from what you hear, see, and repeatedly experience. If you surround yourself with complaint, negativity, and fear, you undo your own work. This does not mean isolating yourself from reality. It means being selective about influence. Successful people guard their minds fiercely. They do not allow constant exposure to discouraging voices. They choose books, conversations, and ideas that reinforce the identity they are building. You must do the same. This is not arrogance. It is self-respect. Another mistake people make is waiting for proof before continuing the practice. They say, I will keep doing this once I see results. That is backwards. The subconscious changes first. Results follow later. If you stop because you see no immediate change, you signal doubt. Doubt weakens the instruction. Faith is not blind belief. Faith is persistence without evidence. This is why the world is divided between drifters and definite thinkers. Drifters react to circumstances. Definite thinkers create direction. Let me ask you something important. If you continue giving your subconscious the same instructions you have been giving it, where will your life be 5 years from now? The answer is not mysterious. It will look very much like today. But if you change the instruction today, even slightly, 5 years from now will look entirely different. In the next part of this story, I will reveal the habit that quietly destroys more success than lack of talent or opportunity. The habit of drifting. You will learn how drifting begins, why it feels comfortable, and how to break free before it costs you your future. For now, remember this. Your subconscious mind is listening. It is always obeying. The only question is whose orders it is following. Make sure they are yours. Part 5. The silent habit that destroys dreams. There is an enemy that ruins more lives than failure ever could. It does not announce itself. It does not feel dangerous. It feels comfortable. This enemy does not attack you. It slowly lulls you to sleep. I call it drifting. Drifting is the habit of letting life decide for you. It is the quiet surrender of purpose. It is waking up each day without a definite aim and calling it normal. It is moving through years without direction and mistaking motion for progress. Most people are drifters, not because they are weak, but because they were never taught the danger of drifting. They are busy, yet going nowhere. They are tired, yet unfulfilled. They are alive, yet not truly living. Drifting begins innocently. A young person postpones deciding what they want from life. They say, I will figure it out later. Later becomes years. Years become decades. One day they wake up wondering how life passed so quickly. Drifting continues when people accept circumstances without question. They take jobs they dislike and tell themselves it is temporary. They stay in relationships that drain them and call it loyalty. They silence ambition and label it maturity. But drifting is not maturity. It is slow self-abandonment. Through 4 decades of research, I observed a clear division between people. Not between rich and poor. Not between educated and uneducated. But between definite thinkers and drifters. Definite thinkers decide what they want. Drifters allow life to choose for them. Definite thinkers use their minds deliberately. Drifters let their minds be used by habit, fear, and opinion. The most tragic part is this. Drifters often believe they are being realistic. They say things like, "I am just being practical," or "dreams are for lucky people," or "this is how the world works." But realism without purpose is just surrender dressed in logic. Let me tell you a story that reveals how drifting quietly takes control. I once interviewed a man in his late 50s. He was intelligent, healthy, and capable. Yet his eyes carried regret. He told me he had always planned to do something meaningful. He had many ideas, but he never decided on one. He waited for clarity. He waited for confidence. He waited for the right time. The right time never arrived. He drifted from job to job, from plan to plan, from excuse to excuse. When I asked him what stopped him, he said something chilling. "Nothing stopped me. I just never started." That is the power of drifting. It does not block your path. It removes your direction. Drifting thrives on comfort. It tells you there is no urgency. It whispers that tomorrow is safer than today. It convinces you that average is acceptable and that ambition is risky. And because it feels harmless, it is rarely resisted. Definiteness, on the other hand, demands effort. It demands responsibility. It demands that you choose a direction and accept the discomfort of growth. That is why most people avoid it. But here is the truth you must understand if you want to take control of your life. Nothing happens until you decide. Your subconscious mind cannot move you toward a target you have not defined. It cannot organize plans for a destination you have not chosen. When you drift, your subconscious follows the strongest external influence: society, fear, habit, other people's expectations. When you decide, your subconscious becomes your ally. This is why definiteness is so powerful. A definite purpose acts like a compass. It organizes your thoughts. It filters opportunity. It gives meaning to effort. Without it, even success feels empty. I observe that drifters often work harder than definite thinkers. They expend enormous energy but achieve little satisfaction. Definite thinkers often work with calm focus and achieve more with less strain. The difference is direction. Now let me address the greatest excuse drifters use. They say, "I do not know what I want." This statement is not a truth. It is a habit. You do not discover purpose by waiting. You discover it by choosing and refining. Purpose is not lightning. It is a decision tested by action. Choose a direction. Act on it. Adjust as you learn. Drifting says wait until you are sure. Definiteness says act until you are sure. Another reason drifting persists is fear of responsibility. When you decide, you can no longer blame circumstances. You can no longer hide behind uncertainty. You become accountable. This frightens many people. But responsibility is not a burden. It is freedom. The moment you decide, life becomes simpler. Not easier, but clearer. Now let me give you a way to identify whether drifting controls your life. Ask yourself these questions honestly. Do I have a clear written goal for my life? Do I know what I am working toward right now? Do my daily actions align with a definite purpose? Do I make decisions or avoid them? If these questions make you uncomfortable, drifting may already be in control. But here is the good news. Drifting can be stopped instantly. Not gradually, not someday, now. The moment you make a definite decision, drifting loses power. That decision does not need to be perfect. It needs to be firm. Decide what kind of person you are committed to becoming. Decide what values guide your actions. Decide what direction you will move, even if the path is unclear. Your subconscious responds immediately to decisiveness. When you decide, something remarkable happens. You feel energy return. Focus sharpens. Confidence begins to grow, not because circumstances changed, but because direction did. This is why people often feel alive during moments of commitment, even before results appear. Commitment activates life. Let me show you how to replace drifting with definiteness in a practical way. Begin with a written purpose. Not long. Not complex. One clear statement. It might say, "I am committed to building a life of meaningful work, financial independence, and personal growth." Read it daily. Not casually. Intentionally. Then ask yourself one question each morning. What is one action today that supports this purpose? Do not overwhelm yourself. One action is enough. Drifting collapses when faced with daily intentional action. Another important step is decision speed. Definite thinkers decide quickly and change slowly. Drifters decide slowly and change often. Train yourself to decide faster on small things. What to work on. What to stop tolerating. What to say yes or no to. This builds decisiveness like a muscle. Finally, remove the influences that encourage drifting. Constant negativity. Endless distraction. Voices that mock ambition. You do not need to argue with them. You need to outgrow them. In the final part of this story, I will reveal how to combine definiteness, mental attitude, and subconscious programming into a single daily discipline that permanently transforms your life. For now, remember this. Life does not reward intention. It rewards decision. The moment you stop drifting, you stop being carried by life and start directing it. And direction is the beginning of destiny. Part 6. How to take command of your life. Starting today, there comes a moment in every life when understanding is no longer enough. You may recognize yourself in these words. You may feel inspired. You may even feel awakened. But none of that matters unless you act. Knowledge without application is decoration. It makes the mind feel busy while life remains unchanged. The difference between those who transform and those who remain stuck is not what they know. It is what they practice. This final part is not about theory. It is about command. For 40 years, I searched for the common thread that runs through every enduring success. Not temporary success. Not sudden fortune. But lasting control over life. I found it in one principle. Definiteness of purpose combined with disciplined mental attitude creates inevitable results. Not maybe. Not sometimes. Inevitable. Those who master this do not wait for motivation. They build habits that function even when motivation fades. They do not depend on emotion. They direct it. Let me show you how. Every powerful life operates on a simple daily system. Not complicated. Not overwhelming. Simple enough to follow and strong enough to change everything. It begins each morning. When you wake up, before the world speaks to you, you speak to your mind. Most people wake up and immediately receive orders. News. Messages. Problems. Noise. By the time they stand up, their mental attitude is already reactive. You must reverse this order. Upon waking, take 2 minutes and remind yourself who you are becoming. Read your definite purpose aloud. Feel it. See yourself acting in alignment with it. This is not positive thinking. This is programming. You are issuing instructions to your subconscious before fear, doubt, or distraction can speak. Then ask one question. What is the one thing I will do today that moves me toward this purpose? Do not list 10 things. Choose one. Power comes from focus. Then throughout the day, guard your mental attitude like a valuable asset. When disappointment appears, do not argue with it. Replace it. Say quietly, this is temporary and useful. When fear arises, do not fight it emotionally. Redirect it. Say, I act with confidence regardless of feeling. This is mental discipline, not suppression. Direction. Each time you redirect your thoughts, you strengthen control. Over time, positive mental attitude becomes automatic. Now let me tell you something important. The world will test you the moment you commit to change. Old habits will pull at you. Old people will question you. Old patterns will demand obedience. This is not resistance. This is confirmation. Life always tests new identity. Do not explain yourself. Do not defend your decision. Continue. The next element is persistence. Persistence is not stubborn repetition. It is intelligent consistency. You will not feel inspired every day. That is normal. Persistence means acting anyway. Those who succeed are not more motivated. They are more committed. Each evening, before sleep, review your day briefly. Not with judgment. With observation. Ask yourself, did my actions align with my purpose today? If yes, feel gratitude. If no, adjust tomorrow. This nightly reflection impresses lessons onto the subconscious mind. It teaches without punishment. Now let us speak honestly about time. Time is the great illusion that keeps people waiting. They say, I will start when things settle down. They say, someday I will change. Someday does not exist. There is only now. The future is built entirely out of present moments. If you waste today, you waste your life in small pieces. This does not mean rushing. It means respecting time. Point 1. Focused hour daily. applied consistently, outperforms years of unfocused effort. You do not need to overhaul your life overnight. You need to take control of one day and repeat. Now I want to return to something deeply important: your environment. Your environment either reinforces your purpose or weakens it. If you surround yourself with voices that complain, doubt, and ridicule ambition, your mental discipline will be constantly under attack. Choose your influences deliberately. Read material that strengthens belief. Listen to voices that challenge you to grow. Spend time with people who act with intention. This is not selfishness. It is survival. Another truth must be stated plainly: you will outgrow some people. This is not betrayal. It is evolution. Do not hold yourself back to keep others comfortable. Now let me share the final realization that changed my own life. Success is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by the person you become. When your mental attitude is right, when your purpose is clear, when your subconscious is programmed for achievement, opportunities appear naturally. You do not chase them, you recognize them. This is why the law works. Life responds to identity. Change who you are being, and life must change how it responds. This is not motivational language. It is observable fact. I have seen men rise from nothing and women rebuild from despair using these exact principles. Not because they were lucky, but because they stopped drifting and started directing. Now the responsibility passes to you. No book, no speaker, no video can do this for you. You must decide. Decide to stop waiting. Decide to stop drifting. Decide to take command of your mind and your life. This decision does not require permission. It requires courage. If you apply what you have learned, your life will not remain the same. That much I can promise. The key has always been in your hands. The vault has always been openable. The only thing that was missing was your decision to turn the lock. If this message helped you, let it help someone else. Share it with someone who needs direction. Subscribe for more stories that awaken purpose and discipline. And comment below with one decision you are committing to today. Your future is listening. Speak to it with intention.